Hi guys, welcome to Reddit Rabbit Hole. Today, we are looking at the question, people who choose to be kind every day despite of not receiving the same kindness back, what motivates you? Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the video, so YouTube gods are pleased. Without further ado, let's get started. I try not to reproduce behavior I don't like in other people. Makes me like myself more. Yup, do it for yourself. When you live consistent to your values and principles, it builds your self-confidence, esteem, and just generally you walk lighter. That's more than enough reason. If the only reason you're kind to people is to get something back, you will always only ever be disappointed. Do it for yourself. I'm kind because I'm kind, not because other people are. Yep, this one for me. I just literally don't have it in me to be mean or rude. It's not who I am. That said, I have gone on a few rants at people who have treated me badly. Alone, in my car. Because I know how it feels when you're down and your day/week/month/year just fucking sucks, and if there's a chance I can make just one person who feels like that have a better day and feel good for a bit, then it's worth it at it. So I've never actually seen a full episode of Friends and had no idea I was close to the theme song. Took me a bit to figure out why so many people were saying I'll be there for you lol, but thanks for making me aware of that. Exactly, me too. Something so simple and effortless as telling someone their shirt looks cool can honestly make a world of difference in someone's day, so why not do it? This is exactly why I have a tray set out on the front porch with bottles of water, Gatorade, and various snacks like bags of peanuts, beef sticks, and a variety of candy for our delivery drivers. I know their job can be stressful and they don't always work under the best conditions, so I do what I can to make their day a little better. We receive a lot of deliveries, and every time I see one of them smiling after reading the note I left out there with the snacks, it makes my own day better as well. I had the cutest video clip from my front door cam of a FedEx driver running toward the front porch with the excitement of a child after he spotted a box of Sour Patch Kids. As he was running, he cried out, "Oh, Sour Patch Kids." He put the package down on the table and said, "Oh my God, this is awesome. I love this. Thank you." Before hopping off the porch while practically clicking his heels and running back to his truck with a spring in his step. That reaction made me feel happy for days. Edit, paid the wholesome tax, and uploaded the clip to YouTube. Yep, exactly this. I've always been a tomboy, and because of this, treated poorly by strangers my whole life. Hate to say it, but I'm far too familiar with being put down for no valid reason, and then feeling like shit about myself all because somebody was intentionally mean. Best way to counter this IMO. Be intentionally kind all the time. I don't ever want to make other people feel the way mean people have made me feel. Being kind to others is so easy and can be greatly impactful. Spread kindness always. Right? Kindness is the easiest route. You won't get caught up in drama. You avoid fights. People are more apt to help you, etc. Edit. I'm a naturally meek person. I've been bullied pretty badly in the past. My coping mechanism was always to smile through it and be kind to whoever was mean to me. It throws them off and makes it harder for them to continue being mean. I know it's really difficult to show kindness to people who treat you awful, but it's often the best way to get people to start treating you with respect. Fighting back and being a dick will only make a situation worse, even if you do have to sacrifice some pride. Exactly. Maybe I am lucky with how I'm wired, maybe I was raised right, or maybe it's something else. But I never understood why so many people on Reddit talk about making a big effort to be nice to people in everyday life. It's just how I am, and as a result, I very rarely am met with great hostility. I'm not especially strong or educated. I'm not particularly well off, and I know I can get carried away and come off as annoying sometimes. So if I can't be strong or smart, socially adept or successful, I can definitely be kind. When I was young, I used to admire intelligent people. As I grow older, I admire kind people. Abraham Joshua Heschel. You have this so wrong, friend. Strength doesn't just come from physical capacity. School isn't the only place to receive an education. Richness isn't tied to wealth. You are all those things and you are kind, so really, you're way ahead of the average person. I understand how you feel. I have ADHD and I know it affects me relationships with others, and I try to compensate by being really understanding and appreciative of others and go out of my way to help them. I know it's not the healthiest way to handle things, and I know I need to listen to myself when I say this. But it's okay to struggle with the things you struggle with, and you shouldn't feel bad about coming off as annoying to others. People don't often understand what it's like to struggle in the same way you do, and it's worth treating others the way you want to be treated and be fair to yourself too. Perhaps you're not annoying and other people are the ones being assholes, or maybe you're not socially inept. Perhaps people aren't giving you the same thoughtfulness you give them. Validate yourself because people who don't struggle the same way you do won't realize they aren't being kind to you, even though they really aren't trying to make you feel bad. I relate to this a lot. I tried because, when I was young, I'd hear stories of people who changed the world with their heart and compassion. I remember thinking that it can't be me, because I'm not particularly special. I'm probably not capable of greatness, but I'm capable of living my life kindly. Little things. I'm good at little things. So every day I try my hardest to be kind, hoping that the little things will add up to one big thing, and one day I can look back and see that I'd have changed the world in my own little way. I think a lot of it boils down to how you are raised. My dad came from an extremely loving family, and my mom didn't. My dad will do anything for anyone and doesn't expect something in return, and is always pleasantly surprised when they reciprocate because that's how he was raised. My mom made the conscious decision that she would never be like her family and is right there with my dad. They are both so supportive of me and my brother, and by extension all of our friends, because they see anyone who is part of their life a family. Lost count of the amount of times growing up we had friends stay with us because they had fallen out with their own parents. I try to do the same and raise my girls the same. I'm like your mom. I remember the exact moment at 15 that I decided I wasn't going to be like my parents. They had a room repainted and said it looked patchy when the first coat hadn't even dried. Instead of waiting until the job was done or listening, they went full asshole on this poor guy, including threatening his pay. They were recently wealthy. They didn't need to do any of that to him, so I decided fuck them. Fuck their money and the inheritance they like to dangle over my head. Not if it meant making someone's eyes lose their spark like they did to the painter. 2 years later, they kicked me out for some complicated reason. I was homeless for a year, then built myself from the ground up without them. I'd never regret it. I was raised in a really poor family. My dad was basically an orphan at 9 years old. Didn't have a clue how to raise children or how to love people. He raised us to be independent because that's all he knew. I always thought other people should also be independent and figure out their own problems. By contrast, my husband grew up with an alcoholic mother who worked at a bar and slept with anything that showed interest. He had to figure out how to take care of himself at an early age, but he acknowledges there were people in his life who helped him along the way. He's never met a stranger and will help anyone who needs it. When we first started dating, I mentioned that I either had to ride the bus to get to work 15 minutes late or an hour early. He handed me his car keys, told me I could drop him off at work, and then I could use the car all day. It's through his example that I've learned to offer help when I see someone in need, to be of service when I can. I don't expect people to be kind back. I do it because it's the right thing, not because I'm hoping for any return. Agree. When people reciprocate, it's really lovely, but not expecting anything in return has made me a much happier person. My life is not a bank account that I'd balance kindness for kindness. Rather, my life can be measured in the total kindness and joy and love I share with others. Trying to balance things IMO is where resentment grows. That being said, I feel no obligation to be kind to people who are mean, unpleasant, violent, etc. I'm a moron, I'm nice. There's a difference. I try to embody this mindset so much. Being a dwarf, I get a lot of shit from people. Shouting on the street, pointing, people filming me and taking photos of me, asking me invasive questions, generally making rude statements about me or expressing weird assumptions. It gets tiring and sometimes downright upsetting, for sure, but I never want to let that feed into how I interact with people in general. As soon as I'm addicted to someone preemptively, without cause, I have just ruined an opportunity to have a positive new connection in my life. People can and will often surprise you, and even people who may seem ignorant or rude at first can change dramatically if I don't just shut them down from the offset. There is a line, of course. If someone is a complete unapologetic ass, fuck them. I'm not against standing up for myself, and I have had to cut ties with people before. But in milder situations, people have the capacity to change, and it's kind of wasted potential to not encourage that, whether it is through empathy or kindness. I used to let all of this get to me. I would be so angry and miserable every day. I hated everyone. But eventually, I realized that empathizing with people is a win for both parties. Understanding where a person is coming from, not excusing but understanding it, made me less angry and in turn allowed for them to not get defensive or aggressive like they would if they were just pegged as a monster. Eventually, empathy just became easier. It made me happier, and it took less of a toll on my mindset. Sorry if this is a stupid question, but did Peter Dinklage becoming a favorite character in Game of Thrones make things better or worse? It seemed like the first time that a dwarf actor had top billing in a prestige TV. Again, sorry if that's a stupid question. Whenever I see someone that looks different, I actively try to act as normal as possible and avoid staring. Same goes for rare occasions I've recognized someone famous. IMO attracting attention from everyone all the time has to be exhausting, so I do my best to mitigate it. I'm so glad you wrote this. May I ask your advice about how you would like parents to respond to their children when you overhear a child say something? My 6-year-old daughter pointed out a little person once. Naturally, I was horrified that he may have overheard. I told her everyone is born different, and it's not polite to point it out in public. I told her different doesn't just mean eyes, hair, and skin color. I kind of use my thumb as an example. I remind her that I was born with a thumb that doesn't bend, my dad too, and my cousin can't bend his thumbs or big toes. In private, we've had more in-depth talks, but it's always a shock to a parent when your kid says something in public. You kind of freeze and don't know how to respond. Plus, my embarrassment obviously showed, which I'm sure makes it worse for the person being talked about. You remind me of myself. I'm still working on it, and I understand why people do the things they do. But instead of showing kindness, I tend to treat them neutrally and ignore them for the most part, which makes the ones who receive constant praise and attention for being more charismatic think that I'm a shut-in asshole of some sort, or that I secretly think I'm above them. It's unreal how much passive aggressiveness I get daily, just for not saying anything and minding my own business. Like I personally insulted them, and now they feel the need to show themselves as being superior to me. Edit. I treat neutrally and ignore the people who I deem to be assholes to others who are less fortunate. Because I've been where they've been, and I just can't show kindness to someone who puts down others to feel better about themselves. My 3-year-old pointed out a little person at the grocery store jumping up and down saying, "It's a leprechaun. It's a leprechaun," so loudly. He came up to us and said, "You should see me on March 17th. So sweet. He turned a cringe-worthy moment as a parent into a loving memory. I just think you should make anyone else's life harder than it already is. Edit. I've been on Reddit 9 years and I've never had this much of a reaction to one of my comments. Thanks, y'all. To clarify, I'm not a saint. There are exceptions and my kindness does have limits. However, I usually try very hard to be nice to people because life sucks sometimes. When another person makes you suffer, it is because he suffers deeply within himself, and his suffering is spilling over. He does not need punishment, he needs help. That's the message he is sending. Fitch and Hat Han. Life is hard. People go through shit. Also, having less empathy is often genetic, neurological, mental health, and gut bacteria related. There should be consequences for hurtful behavior and actions, but people themselves are a fucking mess of complications. I don't need people to be kind to me, because I have a lot of beauty in my life. I want everyone else to enjoy the beauty in their lives, too, even with the struggles. I want them to thrive alongside the pain. I want them to be as happy and well as possible. I don't want anyone to be stuck in suffering because life is short and the reasons you may be a dick are complex. Your life is happening right now. It's passing by. What beauty is passing by that you just don't see? Can I make your path a bit more beautiful with a little kindness? Exactly. I never know what goes on in others' life. I'd be kind to you up until you're a complete dick to me. But you got it right. Sometimes the little things like saying excuse me and thank you while shopping goes a long way for some people. Plus, why would I waste my own time being an asshole? I'd rather be nice and spread that joy to others. It just never hurts to be nice. You don't know what people go through or how long it's been since someone said something or did nice for someone, so I do my part to reset the clock on that. I remember holding the door for a guy one time when he was like 20 feet behind me, and he was so appreciative that someone did something for him that sounded like he was about to tear up. You just never know, so why not be a good person? I actually just quit my job yesterday because I realized that my managers were being intentionally rude and hurtful towards me and the higher-ups didn't care. One of the days I was just having a hard day, and when my manager came down on me intentionally harder than was necessary, I had a major panic attack. Later that afternoon he admitted he wrote, and reread the mean message, but decided to hit send anyway because he knew I wouldn't like it. I just realized in that moment I couldn't be in a place that condoned that kind of behavior from employees. Said managers then begged me to stay after I put in my notice, of course. Later that evening I went to the grocery store and saw the same meat counter lady who is always there. She's always so polite and friendly, so because I was having a bad day I asked her, "How are you always just so gracious and friendly? I have never seen you otherwise, and I love that I can always expect to see you here with a smile on." She instantly started to tear up and told me what I said meant so much because she was having an absolutely horrible day. I just thought again how much words can matter and felt even more justified leaving my job. You never know what a person is going through, and your attitude and words can make or break someone's day, so why not just be kind? My other response to people who are rude to me is, "You seem like you're having a bad day. I hope being rude to me made you feel better about yourself." Usually shuts people down pretty quickly. Being unkind makes me feel very guilty immediately, lol. Even if they deserved it, I just feel kind of angry or upset after, never better. Same, it makes me feel shame. I have no issues being consistently kind in all situations, with the exception of work, where my tolerance and empathy have been completely depleted. I still start every day with a positive attitude, but it doesn't always stick, and I get snarky, then feel guilt and shame. Tell myself I will do better tomorrow and try being kinder. My mother. She was the nicest person I've ever known. She was respectful, kind, and nice to everyone, even the ones who were mean to her. She committed suicide in April of 2019, and it made me really question life at the time. I think of her and aspire to be that level of kindness. I guess it reminds me of her whenever I see I've made someone smile. I'm so sorry to read this. I'm glad that you could be able to use her passing to spread good. My reason for being kind is the same. I lost my mom from cancer when I was 12, but I knew from a young age how much my mother meant to people. One of the sweetest people ever. Seeing all of her friends really torn up at her funeral really affected me. She was a light to everyone she met. She's still so missed, even after almost 21 years since her passing. My mom wasn't able to give me and my sister many life lessons since I was young, but while in the hospital, she told me to just be a good person. To me, it's really not hard to be kind to others. I don't do it because I want something. It just makes others feel good. I've been there myself. I never know what another person is going through. I just hope to leave a fraction of the impression my mom left to my own friends and family when my time comes. Anger. The world is often shitty and people are often selfish. So I'm relentlessly positive and friendly even when others abuse it. I'm not letting shitty people gaslight me into being like them. It's like armor in a way if you refuse to be annoyed. The people that are shitty to you on purpose are also more annoyed when you just ignore it and continue to be pleasant. When they escalated to get a rise out of you, they look like even more of a dick to everyone. This is called radical kindness. Practicing radical kindness means assuming the best of everyone, heart seeing them, and then acting toward them with compassion, patience, and humility. It means infusing what we think, say, and do throughout the day with warmth, understanding, and care. It means treating everyone, including ourselves. I get a secret glee out of being sugary sweet to rude people and patients I encounter who try so hard to upset you, and you just stay chipper. You can see them try harder and harder to break you, and they either finally deflate and feel guilty, or they just leave more indignant and upset than before, and either one feeds my satisfaction. We make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give. I believe in this quote a lot and try to live by it. Giving kindness is free, and maybe in some situations it may cost more effort. But at the end of the day, I just want them to be happy. That is reward enough for me. Seeing other people happy is reward enough, yes. Once, a lady smiled at me from her car when she let me cross the road, and it literally made my entire week. I hope I have the same effect on people. It may only be a smile, but it can be so comforting in certain situations. Have a very nice day, D. Thank you everyone for watching. Please like and subscribe to make YouTube gods happy. See you guys in another video.